So what's up, YouTube? So I want to talk about dark skin or dark skin and how, in the community and probably also just, outside of the community as well, oftentimes, dark skin is sometimes and oftentimes equated to masculinity. But also, I think people, tend to overlook that dark skin is also equated to animalisticness, you know. But I think that's something that low key kind of goes over people's heads. Um, and of course, in the community, when it comes to dark skin, it's like, that equates to masculinity, right? So, if you have dark skin and you're a man, you're automatically deemed masculine. Even though, technically when you really, you know, you don't even have to do a lot of research or anything. When you really just look at the person's actions, you know, oftentimes the actions don't equate to manhood and true masculinity. But, of course, people, especially black people, are fooled by what they hear and what they see, what they see and hear. But like, a wise person once said, don't believe anything you hear and only half of what you see. All right. And personally, I kind of feel like the whole dark skin animalisticness thing, when it comes to the men, tend to be at play more so. But people kind of just defaulted to masculinity, though. You know. Um, and of course, if you're equating someone to animalisticness based off of skin tone, then it's a dehumanizing, you know, dichotomy, right? And I feel like, this kind of started from slavery, honestly. Slavery dehumanized black people, especially brown skin and dark skinned black people, right? And honestly, even after slavery and even up until today, like, it seemed like black folk, brown skin and dark skinned black folk, especially, have not been given their humanity back from that process, from that experience. If anything, it seems like it's still going on, right? I think black people are still sort of fighting for humanity and to be seen as human and to be treated as human, honestly. You know, like, of course, we know about people equating black people, especially brown skin and dark skinned black people, to like monkeys, apes, gorillas, orangutans, hell, even crows. Even crows for some reason, just because they black, you know. But black people, especially brown skin and dark skinned black men, often actually view themselves in the same way, as quiet as it's kept. You know, I heard like one black dude who was like on the Real World referring to himself as like gorilla pimp, and then another black, then it was like 50 Cent's musical group G Unit was really, the G stands for gorilla, so gorilla unit, right? Then I saw like Kevin Durant wearing a shirt that says something like ape or something, you know, you know. And we also know about that whole like H HM or H&M fiasco with the um, black boy wearing the hoodie that said "coolest monkey in the jungle." We know about that, but people had outrage over that one. Black people, you know, expressed outrage over that, right? And of course, it was a black young boy, so of course, he's probably going to have more outrage for him versus if it was a young black female. You know. So like, all this, slavery is sort of help like perpetuate like this, like, oh, black people are subhuman, right? Like the darker they are, it kind of equates to the less human they are and the more animalistic they are, right? And of course, the media propaganda didn't help. Like King Kong, you know, Planet of the Apes, and other negative media portrayals like that. All this like symbolism type shit, right? Like, oh, hint, hint, this is what happened if you, try and incorporate black people, especially black men, into society. You know, also there's a history of putting like black people, specifically dark skinned, brown skinned black people in zoos, you know? And also you notice like that whole like that whole like Jim Crow memorabilia, black caricatures, right? Usually they tend to make fun of black features, but black features that tend to be associated with brown skin and dark skinned people. Notice that. They usually don't attack like light skinned, mixed, and biracial people's features with those caricatures, right? And also like I think like the early origins of boxing sort of originated with white men coming in black neighborhoods and having black people fight each other for like a little bit of food or like a little bit of money, basically having black people beat each other up for entertainment, right? um as well, like the whole Sarah Bartman thing, like AKA Hottentot Venus, right? Putting that black woman up as like a circus show act or something, because she's just so voluptuous, right? And she was done wrong. She was very much dehumanized. And of course, the lynchings. We all know about the lynchings. You know, and of course, the lynchings now have transformed and changed form to police brutality now. That's the new form of lynching, police brutality, And of course, treatment in the legal system as well, you know. So I say all these things to say that, does this dark skin really tend to translate to masculinity more so than animalisticness? And of course we know that women, have Beauty and the Beast fantasies, you know. So, this could kind of work out for the men, but I don't think the men tend to have like Beauty and the Beast fantasies when it comes to women. Like, they want a beast, want an animal. Not so much, right? They tend to want the beauty, not the beast, right? But ultimately, I don't think that, dark skinned and brown skinned men or women's humanity is completely, if at all, really, being recognized. As quiet as it's kept, right? But we know that, black people, especially brown skinned and dark skinned black men, they get full off of crumbs, right? So they'll take anything because colorism affects brown skinned and dark skinned people's self esteem, right? So since you're getting so much, quote unquote love, it's just like, keep going. Like, like, hey, it's okay if you see me as an animal. That's okay, right? Heck, even when it came to that whole like Colin Kaepernick NFL police brutality protest, right? The viewers have shown, like the people who support the NFL who are not black, and even who are black, have shown where their interests lie. Are their interests lie, and it ain't with the Browns, with the black men. Honestly, the black men just in general, but especially the brown skinned, dark skinned black men. It ain't with them. They ain't like, oh, they're not being triggered. Their humanity, right, isn't being triggered to care about brown skinned and dark skinned men's plight in America, or just black men in general. honestly. You know, that's why when it comes to like the mistreatment in the legal system, you know, the harsher jail sentences, the police brutality, like even treatment when it comes to being in school, all these things. I think this is low key what's at play. Like black people, especially brown skin and dark skinned black people not being viewed and treated as like completely, fully human beings, you know? And I feel like when it comes to light skinned, mixed, and biracial folks, I feel like there is some humanity granted toward that group of people for some reason. There's some, you know? Heck, even look how like Colin Kaepernick is being treated to an extent. Even though he spoke out against police brutality, and was barred from the NFL, he's also being kind of like taken care of to an extent, too. You know, Oddly enough, not by black people, but by white folks. Mainstream media. Oddly enough. Me personally, I don't think dark skin automatically equates to masculinity nor animalisticness. You know, Although people, would love to keep that dark skin equals masculine thing, at least for the guys. I know they, want to roll with that. But, personally, I think it needs some actions to back that up, you know, not just the skin tone. And as well, white and light don't necessarily definitely translate to being human either, you know, because there's some white and light animalistic people too, you know. But before I go, you know, when it comes to black features associated with brown and dark skinned people, it tends to be, I don't know, the features low key oftentimes aren't valued unless they deal with something sexual. If you really notice that, like the lips, the body, right? Shapely body for the woman, you know, um, a large penis for the men, right? Um, and People often like go crazy over like, oh, the chocolate skin tone, right? Sexualizing it too, like, oh, you're dipped in chocolate. And we all know it ain't nothing like some, nice glistening dark skin, with some like, dark skin with some like baby oil rubbed on it. A nice, mesmerizing glisten to it, right? But oftentimes other features that are kind of associated with particularly dark skin and brown skin people, like maybe like hair texture, in some cases even skin tone. Like, oh, the skin, as quiet as that's kept, because everyone ain't salivating over chocolate, as much as they tend to claim it, right? In certain situations, yeah, but in other situations, no. All right. But yeah, like sometimes the skin tone, sometimes the shape of the nose, sometimes the lips are too big, the hair texture, right? Like sometimes it seems like those features aren't valued for some reason. And I'm talking about as a collective, right? Not on some individual level, because some people gonna be coming through and be like, oh my God, I love 4C hair texture, hair. I love big noses and big lips and dark skin. Yeah, okay, yes, all right. But I'm talking about when it comes to features that we like low key covet, right? And consider like quote unquote special, you know. Eh, it tends to be a bit, I don't know. People tend to not gravitate towards the, unambiguous black features as much for some reason. And as well, I think sometimes there is like a sexualization when it comes to like the skin tone even, right? Like dark skin is kind of like sexualized, heck, I even know for like lighter skinned people, like the sexual parts of lighter skinned people's bodies are often dark. Honestly, they tend to be the darkest parts on their bodies. So that does kind of low key kind of push the narrative, like, dark is sexual, right? Mhm. But I'm going on for long enough. This video was kind of all over the place. My bad. But I just wanted to come through and put that out there and see what you guys think. So let me know in the comment section. Until the next video, adios and goodbye for now.